Hello, I am the Dungeon Tutor. Welcome. Since 2016, I've been answering your questions, giving advice and inspiration to countless gamers. Here, you can ask questions in the comments and get your own videos as an answer. So I encourage you, enjoy by all means, but come back to visit with your friend, the Dungeon Tutor. Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am the Dungeon Tutor. Welcome! Today we are going to talk about a topic for RPGaDay 2025. Day 20, topic is Enter. Interesting topic. What can we bring out of Enter? Well, what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to talk to you about the latest role-playing game that I have run. And quite honestly, I'm smitten with this game. It's brought me a fresh perspective on fantasy role-playing games. Now, bear in mind, I'm like a lot of other gamers. Most of my fantasy role-playing can be put into a box that is labeled Dungeons and Dragons. You have your pick of a variety of variants, all the different editions. I've played most of them. There's only a couple I haven't yet. And the differences between those and the ones I have may be fairly feeble. I mean, I haven't played the 2024 version. Those have some minor changes here and there. Many of them are cosmetic. The core of the game stays the same. That's why it's backwards compatible with other materials, really. I haven't played original Dungeons and Dragons, the white box stuff. Never had the opportunity. Never had people who really wanted to. And that is settling for going back a lot of evolution to go and play that primordial game. So I haven't done that yet. Someday I will, just to scratch that off. Have I played the Moldvare Holmes BX sets? No, I didn't play. I have the basic sets for both editions, but I have not run them. They're interesting, certainly, but they are just stepping stones between that Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and the basic set that eventually would be the one that stuck, which would be the Back Me set. The red, blue, green, black, and gold sets. But I have hit a malaise on that. I'm just tired of 5th edition D&D, and I really don't want to go back and play the other ones all that much either. Now when there are so many games out there, I know my players really do prefer Dungeons & Dragons. They really love it. It is their game. But they ain't running it right now. It's all me. So, I've been going and looking at other options, certainly. I've tried Swords and Wizardry. It's interesting. It harkens back to the earlier days of Dungeons & Dragons. But it's not far enough away from Dungeons & Dragons still. Keeps a lot of the hoary old traditions too closely for my tastes. In a lot of ways it does feel just like D&D. So I didn't really want that so much. So when I was going to run games at PhoenixCon, which was just last weekend, I decided I was going to try to run D&D style games, but not using D&D. One was trying to play Keep on the Borderlands, a very famous module from back in the day, Dungeons & Dragons, with the rules for Swords and Wizardry Light as kind of an outreach program to try to get youngsters and people brand new to gaming and bring them in. No experience necessary. Come and play this classic dungeon crawl, hex crawl adventure. You might love it, but nobody did. Sadness. But I did get a hit on the other one I tried, and that was to run the adventure I wrote for GUI Cube, A Strangely Gooey Holiday. I'm very proud of that adventure. If you listen to my videos, you'll hear me mention that from time to time. But here's the deal. I wasn't going to run it in 5th edition D&D, which is what I wrote it for. I converted it to Shadowdark. Now, Shadowdark is up there right now as one of the more popular indie games that's available. Arcane Library and the creator, Kelsey, have really done a good job of pushing this game and getting it out there in front of people. And people are really excited. Why? Because it's kind of like D&D. In many ways it is. It's almost an OSR game. But it keeps some of the elements of the modern version of Dungeons & Dragons, like advantage and disadvantage, and strips away layer after layer after layer of things that just kind of bog it all down. For example, instead of in 5th edition you have proficiency, right, which goes up as you rise in level. Well, in this game you don't have to worry about proficiency. You have your basic attributes, which modify some things. Absolutely, that's still there. But if you're really good at it, this game will give you generally advantage on the things that you're good at, which is worth a general statistic and probability +5 to a roll if you have advantage on it. You know what else gave you a +5 if you had proficiency in it? 4th edition D&D. Yes, if you were proficient in a skill in 4th edition D&D, you add +5 to your roll for that. I'm not saying they're the same, not by any stretch of the imagination. I just have to remind people that 4th edition did exist. So, why do I like this game? My entry into this, my invitation to you to try this game. It is a good game, and I'll tell you why. A couple of things. Number one, it's different but familiar. If you play Dungeons & Dragons, and so many of us have, this is not going to feel weird. This is going to feel comfortable. There are a lot of elements that resonate with Dungeons & Dragons players. You roll a d20 and add a small number, put them together and see what you get, and that's how you succeed at things. Yeah, that's in there. The actual physical mechanic of Dungeons & Dragons that you do over and over and over again, you do in this game. It's just that instead of having a, this plus this plus this, it's just that plus your attribute, and that's generally going to be it. There are a couple of things that can give you bonuses on things you do frequently, perhaps, like your chance of succeeding at a spell. If you're a spellcaster, you probably have a chance at bonuses on casting spells. That's not a bad thing. That's by design, and there are big risks and rewards for doing that. More rewards, quite honestly. The risks are getting your magic taken away, but the rewards are pretty cool. So this will feel, and its core mechanics, this is going to feel similar to D&D. There's no getting around it. It is inspired by the D&D. And by the way, they cling to the Creative Commons on this. They're not using an OGL. They're taking what Wizards of the Coast put into Creative Commons, meaning they cannot claw it back. This will never be imperiled because it's in the Creative Commons, which is very cool. And this is a safe platform that you can use to make your own games, which is exactly what they did. So what other ways is it different? I just told you what it's like. Well, yeah, but how is it different? There's a number of good ways. But, first of all, it's simplified, right? There's only 4 classes. Wink. Okay, I'm going to wink on that one, but there's 4 classes. There's the core. You have your priest, you have your wizard, you have your thief, you have your warrior. That's it. That's all you need. I know what you're saying. Some of you who don't know anything about Shadowdark are screaming at me right now, and those of you who know Shadowdark are screaming at me right now, but I will explain. Don't worry about it. Those 4 iconic classes, the pillars of codependency in the Dungeons & Dragons game and fantasy games beyond that, have for a long time. They still exist, and they are celebrated in here by those being the 4 classes. Now, they're a little different, yes. First of all, I'll just say this. Spellcasters rock. Whenever you cast a spell, you have to roll a die for that spell. If you succeed on your check, you don't lose that spell. You get to cast that again. And again and again and again, perchance. That's kind of cool. There are some spells that you can get to the point that you're only going to fail on a small percentage of the chance, so you can cast that spell over and over and over, and that's glorious. But there's also no spell slots. No guaranteed spells going off when you roll that die. So if you're cursed, your die is bad, you could have a long night as a spellcaster watching your spells go away. Poof, 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 poof. Until you're begging for a rest. So that is a kind of a cool difference. You don't have to keep track of spell slots. You have a spell until you don't have that spell anymore. You just tick it off, and you're good. You keep going on. That's pretty cool. For a lot of people, that's a big plus. Some people, it might be a minus. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But it's there, and that is a change. Again, quality of life change. There are luck points. Instead of inspiration, you have luck. Inspiration is not as cool as luck, though. Why? You use luck when you need it. You don't go into a roll going, gosh, I need to succeed at that. I'm going to spend inspiration. And then watch you roll 2 high dice, and it turned out you didn't need it. Luck, these little tokens, you throw down after you failed. Nope, luck stopped you from failing. And with the arcane library symbol on the back and this nice bit of art on the front, it is... You can use anything for loot, for luck tokens. They gave me this when I bought the book at GaryCon, so why not? I'm happy to use them. They look cool too. So, luck is pretty cool. You don't have to use luck. It's kind of optional. It's actually kind of buried in the book, but it's there if you as a game master want to do that. Luck makes your world a little safer. And luck can be given to other players too, by the way. If that caster just failed his roll to keep his Cure Wounds spell up, darn right somebody ought to throw him a luck token to try to get a chance at that. Unless they've blown so many rolls already. That can happen. But, you know, it's a neat mechanic. It gives the players some agency over what's going to happen next. At least another bite at the apple, which is cool. And when I said those are the only classes, of course there's a wink to that. That's not true. They have a series of these mini-zines called Cursed Scrolls. Each one has 2 or 3 new classes. And when I say new classes, a class in this game is 1 page. That's all it is. It is, to look one up, for example, if I'm looking at the Seawolf class in the 3rd Cursed Scroll, which is about Vikings, which is cool. Why I had to have it, I got a thing for Vikings, considering it's my ancestral heritage. Way in the distance. I'm not raiding anybody, trust me. Although I bet I could swing an axe pretty well. Not for very long, I know. What do you have? The basic description of the class? That's a paragraph. The weapons they can use? Yes. Most of them are going to have different things than everything. Only a couple of rare classes, like the warrior class, is going to have everything. Armor. Many of them have limitations on armor, if they can wear armor at all. Hit points. What you roll every level for hit points. The game only goes up to 10 levels, so you don't have to worry about having astronomical numbers of hit points. And also, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, after that first level, your Constitution modifier does not influence your hit points anymore. So it's just that straight die roll. I have in other games rolled with my players, and if I roll higher, they can take mine in a blind check. But in here, that's really not the spirit of the game, so I probably won't do that for Shadowdark. Some other class ability, like the Seawolf has Seafarer. You have advantage on checks related to navigating and crewing boats. How good is that going to do you in the dungeon? Probably not at all, but you could be very flexible. Crewing boats. What do you do when you crew a boat? Tie things up, right? You tie the sails down or whatever, so using rope, you have advantage. There you go. It's a little broad, it's interpretive, but that's how this game works. So if you can justify something that's tied in with boats, like, hey, if I throw that grappling hook up onto that ledge, climbing up it is a lot like climbing a rope up a mast in a ship, right? Sure, have advantage. I would do that every day, every moment. Rowing. Be difficult to think on how rowing would help, unless, of course, there was something that required some repetitive grinding, like maybe cranking, and the faster you crank, making a strength check, yeah, I'd give advantage because your skill in rowing probably would give you a bonus to that. Sure. This one has old gods. Each day your purpose aligns with one of the old gods. Choose one of the options below after you complete a rest. You gain the benefits. Odin, Freya, and Loki. and they give you bonuses. That's kind of cool. That's a small bonus that statistically would help you out in a game. And then Shield Wall. If you wield a shield, you can use your action to take a defensive stance, and your AC becomes a huge 20 during the turn, which is really, really good. Considering they're not wearing full plate or anything, a 20 is a fantastic armor class. So if you need, that would be your action, so you aren't fighting, you aren't swinging, but you are protecting yourself. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Also, the one thing that's on each one of these pages for character sheets is the talents. Every so often, you get to roll on your talents. I think over the course of your career, I think you get 4 talent rolls. These are how you make statistical increases. The most common one, rolling 2d6, is usually going to be a bonus to your attributes primarily used for that class. In this case, it would be Strength or Constitution. And then after that, usually some bonus to something that you do, like spellcasting checks, attack rolls, so you can see your chances statistically of being proficient in combat getting better. Armor classes generally stay low, so this isn't as essential as it is in D&D, that your attacks are going to get better and better as you go. It's nice when it happens, but yeah, it's not the end-all be-all of the game. And quite honestly, if you get that +2 to strength, that's +1 to hit. So, for the most part. Choose 2 different old god effects each day. That's kind of cool. Choose a talent or +2 points to distribute to any stat you want. That's kind of cool. And once per day you can go berserk. You're immune to damage for 3 rounds. Wow. But your odds of getting that, not very good. You'd need to roll snake eyes for your talents check. But if you get it, oh, that's as special as rolling an 18 strength in first edition D&D. Okay, so you can tailor these. Are those classes better than the fighter, wizard, priest, thief? No, they're just different. Just like the classes in something like a Dungeons and Dragons. And there are multiple ones. This one has the Seawolf class, which is cool. Yeah, it's what you commonly think as a Viking. The Seer class. That's, you know, kind of your mystic, your rune caster and stuff. This one only has those 2, but they're good, solid classes if you're going to have a seafaring, Viking-like adventure. And that's pretty cool. So there's that. Another thing that's super cool about this game is that you don't worry about gribbly bits and information very often. There's 4 ranges. There's close range where you can hit them. There's near range where you can throw something and hit them. There's medium range where you can shoot something and hit them. And then there's long range where you can take the longest weapon and possibly shoot and hit them. That's all you need. Changing a range category is a round's movement, which you get a maneuver every round. You get a maneuver and an action. It's pretty simple. It's not overly complex. So, for somebody who's looking for something simplified, even that is that much simpler. What about provisions? Well, it is based on old school concepts. So, your provisions could be an important thing, especially if you're delving or traveling far away from a home or a base. But probably the core element that this game is known for, I mean, it's called Shadowdark, light. It's real simple. If you have a torch, it lasts for 1 hour of game time. Group wants to yak? Hey, that's fine. If you yak for a whole hour, better have extra torches. And if things go dark, things go bad for you. So yeah, it's kind of an important thing. It is an element of resource that you kind of have to keep up with. If the game master rules that you do. If they don't care, then yeah, okay. You could say 1 torch lasts for your entire night, and that's fine too. But nobody has dark vision, nobody has infravision, nobody has any special means of seeing in the dark. Everybody needs the light, except for the monsters. So that's an important element of the game. Honestly, a lot of these things are pretty darn refreshing. For somebody who's been pounding away as editions have gotten, you know, 3rd edition with all the massive prestige classes and just as bloated as that game got. Then 4th edition, when everybody stopped playing D&D for a while. Not everybody, I know there's people who love 4th edition, but it is fun to tease them from time to time. And then 5th edition, when everybody and their uncle came back, and it just got, you know, really adventure by road. Then, something like Shadowdark can be a breath of fresh air. especially if you have an itch to still run dungeons, to still do all the cool things with your character, who are real quick to whip up, by the way. And if you don't even like going through generating characters, as a tip from your old dungeon tutor friend, wonderful website, Shadowdarklings, character generator, owned by Arcane Library, so it's legit, and has all the stuff from the various books. You can choose what to pick and what not to pick, and random create characters. I used it for the con. It was fantastic. Shadowdark, good game. Highly recommended. I played it, and I found converting it from Dungeons & Dragons was real easy, and I will cover that at some point in a video in this channel. But I found that it kept true to the spirit of what makes D&D really good, and got rid of a lot of bloat and a lot of dinosaur tissue that, even though 5th edition D&D, stripped as it is and finely tuned as it is, still has too much of, for me at least. So, I loved it, and I do look forward to playing more Shadowdark in the future. If you look forward to hearing more of my videos in the future, of course, you can do all the YouTube stuff, but like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share with other people who want to hear about Shadowdark, my little testimonial. And that is not a complete testimonial. There's a lot more to this game. But that's enough for my elevator pitch for you, I guess. And if you like Shadowdark, you're interested, you have questions, by all means, leave in the comments. I will happily answer your questions. I will happily make another video in the future, because I have only started to talk about this game. I will talk a lot more about Shadowdark before I am done. It's a little bit of a game crush, I'll be honest. It is. But I'm looking forward to seeing more and seeing what they develop with it. I think it has a lot of potential. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised there hasn't been as much third-party stuff outpouring. And there has been. Don't worry. It's not that there isn't any, it's just there isn't as much as I kind of thought there would be. But still, they're wide open and ripe for people to make stuff for Shadowdark. So as that stuff comes out, it's going to be really interesting. At any rate, my friends, thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it, and I hope you like this. I really do hope to see you again. So if you do come back, I hope between that magical time of then and now, I hope that you, yes, you, get a chance to roll some dice, play some games, have some fun. Stay safe, everyone. Until that next time, farewell.